going on, the Winners Win podcast? This is your boy Loso 2.0, and today we're going to talk about the law of compensation factors, right? So factors that go into the law of compensation. Now, before we get started with that stuff, let's just do some housekeeping things. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the Winners Win channel. If you're listening to any type of podcast platform, leave a 5-star review and leave a review below so I can figure out how I can better serve you. Now, what do I mean by the law of compensation, right? So you ever realize this, and I want you to really listen to this because this is something that we kind of talk about on a daily basis, right? Is the idea of 10-year overnight successes, right? That law of gender where it's just a gestation period. They keep putting in work. They keep putting work. They get a little money here and there, bigger places a little bit, then a little bit, and then boom, out of nowhere, they just blow up, make millions of dollars, get hit with all this stuff. And I'm sorry if I scared you or whatever, because you probably was listening to this in the morning on some chill stuff, and then figured that out. What is this? That is just nasty. But that's and then it just hits you up like that and hits you like out of nowhere, right? That is the law of, pretty much gestation or whatever, right? But that is called the compensation, right? The law of compensation, right? You keep putting in the work, you keep giving value. Remember, a man's value is based off of his what he brings to the table, right? That decides a man's value. How many people do they impact, right? So that law of compensation really is the law of gestation, that you keep putting in work, and then boom, you make big money out of nowhere. And then when your big money, it blows up. And then after it blows up, boom, now you've been making, a whole bunch of money. It's a concept that Napoleon Hill calls big money, right? You make that big money, right? You're making a big check, right? But you need 3 factors in order to go into this, right? The first one is there has to be a need for what you do. So what you do has to have some type of connection to the reason why you're making money, right? And let me give you an example, right? Michael Jackson, there's a reason why Michael Jackson made more money than the president, right? The president is responsible for the United States, right? He's responsible for running the government or whatever, for the United States, which he's a really important person. But most, presidents, I think the salary for a president is about $400K, right, a year, which is crazy good, right? But it's not $1 million, right? It's not $1 million. Like $1 million makes that look like nothing. But Michael Jackson was a millionaire because he affected the lives of so many people around him, right? So many more people. I mean, people were literally going to his concert here, and people would pass out, right? But that's because he really had that type of that impact on people. Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins, these guys are millionaires, multimillionaires because the impact that they have on people. People need that. People need someone to really open up that inner version of themselves. They're going to need people who really want to help them blow up. The people that want to really just help people really get out of themselves, beat themselves, become a better version of themselves. They need people like me, people making them the 2.0 version of themselves, right? Cheryl 2.0, Elizabeth 2.0, Courtney 2.0. You need that type of person, having that needing, making someone helping people achieve their personal, professional goals. That is needed. But that's what I'm saying. The need for what you do has to be so important that people are willing to die for it. Are you willing to die and put your life on the line for for what you do? Are people willing to do that? Are people literally passing out at the idea of what you're doing? Are people really turned on? Jim Rohn says you have to be turned on by your goals. Do they make you as excited as, maybe watching a movie? Do they make you as excited as doing anything else, right? You have to really be turned on for your goals, and people have to have that need for it. The second factor that goes into compensation is your ability to do it. At the moment right now, yes, Tony Robbins and Eric Thomas and Les Brown, those guys make more money than me with this motivational speaking stuff because they're better at it. They've been doing more years. They put more time into it. I know the law of gender, and I know there's a gestation period. So I know that right now what I'm doing is just putting my goals in, putting that work in, putting that pain in, and eventually it's going to work itself out, right? But the ability to do it makes you get paid more money. There's a reason why Stephen Curry makes more money than, Matt Dellavedova. Right? Steph Curry is arguably one of the best point guards ever. And Matt Dellavedova, some people might not even remember who he was, right? Because his ability to do what he does, right? Of course, you're going to make more money based off of the more value that you provide. Money and value given go hand in hand. the law of polarity. So the law of compensation, like I said, right? The big money, where big money comes in. Big money just really means what Napoleon Hill's talk about is that idea that like a big flow of money just comes in. That's why you see these people that put in work with that law of gender, that gestation period. They keep putting in work and putting in work. They're getting paid here and there, and then boom, they just blow up, right? That's talking about the law of compensation, which really goes into the the law of gender. And then there's three factors that go into that. And remember, I said first was the need for what you do. People have to actually need what you are selling, the thing that you're doing, the services you're providing. They actually have to need that, right? For example, the sell your business is so big because this is what people are on 24/7. They're just on their phones, right? Then your ability to do it. If my phone's dropping calls all the time, there's a reason why I got AT&T and not Mint Mobile. No offense, because I love Ryan Reynolds. He's hilarious though, right? And then there's a last thing that's doing it, and it's the difficulty of replacing you. Okay. Are you replaceable? Can someone take you and pull you out your whatever you're at and put somebody else in there and they do the same job? Is that possible? Right? At my job, right? I like to say I'm like the cleanup crew. That's why I always tell people. What made me get promoted so fast is I went to all the places that were doing bad. Every single store location that really was down under. I'm just playing. But every location that was down under, I went and I performed at getting amazing results for these locations, making them be profitable again. And then boom, on to the next one. Then on to the next one. And when I left those places, this is where they went. Shot downhill. Every single time I left it. I am literally, and I made myself to the point where I'm literally irreplaceable. Like, you have to rely on me. If you take LeBron James from the Lakers, they're at best a G League team. Now, they still have Russell Westbrook and all that stuff, but they're not really that good, right? You take Steph Curry from the Warriors, they're still going to be good, but they're not going to be championship caliber team without Stephen Curry. He's the best player. You have to be irreplaceable. You have to put in so much work. You have to be so good at what you do. My mentor used to always say this, right? He used to say, all right, they're not putting you in the game, right? It's because you're not doing your best. You're not showing them who you are. Because he said, if you were doing what you were best and showing them who you are, even if they didn't like you or like your game, they would have no choice but to play you because you are that good, right? You made yourself irreplaceable. So that's the third law of competition, is the difficulty of them replacing you, right? So I want you to start following these three factors and really sit there and evaluate yourself, right? Evaluate yourself and really think about, like, with these three factors, am I really using these three factors at full capacity to the point where I'm making money, right? And if I am, then I should be making big money. If not, then I'm making little money, right? That's all it is to it, right? So I also want you to comment below which one is your favorite. And again, like this video, share it, subscribe to Winners Win channel, or 5-star reviews on this channel or any type of podcast platform. Leave a review below so I can figure out how to better serve you. And keep killing the day, guys. Winners win, losers lose, and you pray for success like this. 2.0 out.